What's up everyone, and welcome back to Top 5 Central. Today we're going to be taking a look at the top 5 most haunted places in the world. Now if you guys do enjoy these type of videos, we have made a playlist full of all of the kind of scariest and creepiest videos we've made, so if you guys do want to check that out, it will be linked in the description below. And as always, let's see if we can smash 10,000 likes on this video. That would be insane. But with that being said, let's jump straight into it. So coming in for the number 5 spot today, we have the Eastern State Penitentiary. Now America has a lot of famous prisons, so it's not really that surprising that one of them is supposedly the most haunted building in the country. I mean, the Eastern State Penitentiary does have a pretty terrifying track record when it comes to taking care of its prisoners, so it's not hard to imagine some of them sticking around to get their revenge after they died. A not so fun fact is that the prison was actually one of the first in the country to use solitary confinement, so basically the prisoners could never leave their cells, and if they did, they were forced to wear hoods so they never saw another person. Even worse though, some prisoners were actually forced to sit in the mad chair as a punishment, which basically cut off circulation and forced them to get amputations just to survive. I mean, even Al Capone couldn't handle it, because even though his cell was way more comfortable than anybody else's, he still complained about being haunted by his victims. If he couldn't deal with the ghosts, it's hard to imagine how the normal prisoners did, since they had to deal with things like starvation, ice cold baths, and even being strung up on a wall overnight. It's enough to make anyone rethink a life of crime.
Can you make a noise? On the count of 3, I want you to make a noise. 1, 2, 3. Whoa.
Dude, there is some noise going on out here.
Oh my god, dude.
Those are coffins?
But getting no further response, we decided to move on. Upon reviewing 289 infrared digital still photos that both Aaron and myself took, one of them captured something unexplainable. If you look very closely in the lower left corner, you can clearly see what appears to be a very bright doorway with an unexplained mist coming out of it. We knew there were no lights on anywhere and noticed nothing reflective in this particular area where the photo was taken. Could this be a doorway to the other side?
Coming in for the number 4 spot today, we have the Island of Dolls. Now I think we can all agree that there's nothing scarier than a creepy doll, and if not, then there's more than enough horror movies to prove my point. With that said, if just one doll is enough to freak you out, imagine dealing with a whole island full of them. Honestly, the most surprising thing about Mexico's Island of the Dolls is that it was never meant to be a scary place. In fact, hanging the dolls from trees was actually supposed to be something positive. Basically, the story says that the caretaker of the island couldn't save a little girl from drowning, and when he found her doll floating in the water, he hung it up as a way to show respect. But that's where things started to get creepy, because he was apparently haunted by the dead girl's spirit, so he made more and more dolls to try and keep her happy. When he hung the dolls up though, something really scary happened, because every doll ended up possessed by one of the dead. Still not freaked out yet? Well, the caretaker eventually died too, and do you know how? He drowned in exactly the same place as the girl he couldn't save.
We are on our way to the Island of the Dolls.
But it's dangerous to be carrying these dolls around.
Oh god.
It could attack.
These dolls are take our souls.
Dude, I don't like it in here.
This is like my worst nightmare. Oh, whoa! Oh my god. I feel like I'm gonna cry right now. I feel go down.
I feel like we shouldn't be on this island. Wait, what?
Shaking, Aaron.
Oh god.
One of them's laughing. Oh my god. Oh my god, bro. Oh. Whoa!
So coming in for the number 3 spot today, we have the old Changi Hospital. Everyone knows that ghosts are most likely to show up in places with a dark or bloody history, so no one should be surprised that this old hospital made the list. The old Changi Hospital is the most haunted place in Singapore, but its story is way more complicated than your average haunted asylum. The simple version is that it was built as an RAF base for the British, but when war broke out and the Japanese occupied Singapore, it was turned over to them. Even though it was a hospital, the Japanese used it as a prison camp, and it's safe to say they didn't treat their inmates very well. The story goes that it was run by the Japanese secret police, who tortured prisoners to death and even put their heads on spikes outside the hospital doors. Those dark years meant that when the hospital was eventually returned to the British, it was filled with the ghosts of the prisoners and wasn't used for very long. Now the hospital is apparently filled with shadow people, as well as the ghost of a woman with a black aura and even a little boy who just sits in the corner and stares.
The roof obviously has some damage. This place really is big.
Coming in for the number 2 spot today, we have the Corvin Castle. Now, no list of haunted places would be complete without a creepy castle, and this one might be the most haunted of all. I've got to say, Corvin Castle in Transylvania has a pretty gruesome history, and the ghost stories surrounding it include everyone from Vlad the Impaler to the legendary vampire Dracula. Right from the beginning, it was considered a seriously dark place because the Turkish prisoners who built it promised freedom but had their heads chopped off instead. Worse than that though, legend has it that Vlad the Impaler was kept as a prisoner under the Hall of Nights and was forced to drink the blood of rats just to survive. Now obviously that would be enough to make anyone lose their minds, but for Vlad that meant something else, because some say when he went insane, he became the bloodthirsty ruler Dracula. Honestly, even the bravest ghost hunters want to stay away from this place, and I can't really blame them. And for the number 1 spot today, again really in no particular order, but we have Mary King's Close. Now if even the staff of a place refuse to enter certain parts alone, you know that it's probably bad news. I mean, Scotland is full of haunted sites, but Mary King's Close is the most famous and the most terrifying of them all. To put it simply, the place was once filled with the dead and dying people who caught the Black Plague, and when the illness eventually died out, the houses of the sufferers were blocked off forever. Apparently, the spirits of those left behind to die now wander the buildings, and the white orbs and creepy lights can be seen coming from whatever used to be the marsh. There are way too many stories with this place to go into them all, but the story of little Annie is probably the most famous. When she caught the plague, her family left her behind to die, and now anyone who goes into Annie's room comes out sure that she never left. For a start, the room is ice cold, and people report feeling sick and starving whenever they go in there. Not only that, but certain guests have even claimed to have been grabbed by the little girl when they tried to leave, and if that isn't scary enough, then I don't know what is.
No, I thought I heard something behind that door.
It was clicking. There was clicking before.
Well, I can't hear it now. I suggest maybe we have a minute of silence.
They waited to hear for the noise again, but were disappointed that nothing else happened. After apparently sensing the presence of a number of spirit people earlier in the evening, Derek Ogilvie was keen to go on a vigil.
That guy keeps looking in the corner and he is freaking me out.
And there's our video on the top 5 most haunted places in the world. If you guys do want to see a part 2 to this video, be sure to let me know by leaving a like down below. Let's see if we can smash 10,000 likes on this video. That would be absolutely insane. And also do remember to subscribe and turn notifications on as well. We do try to respond to as many comments as possible as soon as the video goes live. So if you do have notifications on, you may get to the video first and we may be responding to a bunch of you guys in the beginning. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed and we will catch you all in the next video.